time, we are going to turn the chair over to Dr. Burrs, Chair of Budget and Finance, for a public hearing on our FY 2024-2025 budget.
Thank you, Mr.
Dr. Burrs.
My mic on?
It will be in just a minute. It is now.
Yeah, okay. So as with every year, after we've had the budget education sessions, which the city has been privy to, the last thing we do before we start considering with first and second vote is a public input session, a public hearing session. And we do that by law, but we also do that because we want your input for us to consider when we start voting probably next week. So is there anyone that has any input that they want us to hear relative to our next year's budget?
And I guess if we'll have IT put 3 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, go ahead and put 3 minutes on the clock. And if you would identify yourself, please, ma'am, and what district you're from, and we'd love to hear from you.
Janice Gooden from District 8, also representing Caleb. As an organization, Caleb has been looking at the need for affordable housing, and we had the press conference, and we've had a number of discussions, forums, and we see that in the budget, the proposed budget, you started out with possibly $1 million, and looks like that may be increasing to $3 million. That's a start, but we're hoping that there will be a recurring revenue stream, that it's not going to be limited just to this amount, say, over the next few years. And looking at the possibility of another administration, would it change? Is it going to have the same commitment to affordable housing? Because it really is a crisis. So I think there needs to be more investment for affordable housing.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gooden.
My name's Helen Byrne Sharp, 129 Walnut Street, District 7. Point of clarification. May I make a short comment at the public hearing and then speak on something else at the end? Since at a public hearing, you're asking the public to speak.
Yeah, this is geared solely for the budget.
Yes.
All right, so if
She
you
wants to
keep,
speak at the end, yeah.
yeah. So you mean at the end of the meeting?
Yes, at the end of the meeting, can I speak on another
absolutely.
topic?
That's your right, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So I'll keep it quick and say that I'm very familiar, as I know all of you are, familiar with the Walnut Street Bridge and the fact that for some time it's needed some improvements, and I'm delighted to see that it's in the city's capital budget this year, and I hope the council will make sure, it seems the administration is prioritized it or whatever, but that needs to get done. It is going to be a little bit of a disruption, but we're not going to finish it until we start it. And it's not like it's going to be a problem. I mean, I have seen people tripping, on foot. I've seen wheelchairs have to turn around on it now. So the decking really is in bad shape. So the sooner we get started, the more, the sooner it will be the icon and the special place that we all think that it is. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Hello. Raymond Santero, 1920 Gun Barrel Road. Would love, I guess, budget-wise, I don't know if this is just for public remarks or just for budget, but nonetheless, I would love and behoove the city to put in their budget for lawyers' fees. Hello, Mr. Attorney. Yes, for lawyers' fees for falsely imprisoned people, and to also be aggravated assaulted by police officers or sheriffs while handcuffed. Resulting in 3 weeks in Silverdale, 1 meal, loss of 12 pounds, no water, no hygiene, no soap, human rights, civil rights. Maybe we could put in the budget that if somebody would love to champion civil rights. I see here that this is a little more diverse than the county commissioner meeting that I attend. Congratulations. I'll be there tomorrow morning to maybe persuade them to include some of this diversity up here. See more women here. There are no women over there. There's a couple people of color over there, a couple brothers. But yeah, point being, when you're falsely in prison and you spend thousands of dollars of your hard-earned money going through the legal system here, there are no rights. You have no rights against the state. The state is
Let's keep your
sovereign.
comments relative to the budget, the city budget.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
What would the budget be for helping their own citizens who are now destitute or poor, indigent, for providing them an attorney to fight against the very same system that's oppressing them, i.e. the city attorney, the sheriffs, the police, Erlanger, Joe Johnson, maybe some tort reform in the budget as well would be appreciated for my fellow 12 other people that I know that are also litigating Silverdale. I know that's the county, not the city, but maybe the city can help budget some money to help provide them an attorney that can't be appointed to, because nobody wants to litigate people that they represent or share. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Are you getting up, sir? Oh, okay.
My name's Edward Green Jr., 4101 Gale Drive, Miss Coonrod's district. I stand to make an appeal to this council in regards to the Wilcox Tunnel. I know that everybody know that the Wilcox Tunnel is one of the main thoroughfares that's traveled daily. And the lighting situation in that Wilcox Tunnel is going to cause a serious problem with elderly people who can't navigate through a one-lane system. I would hope that you all would consider a new framing of the lighting situation in the Wilcox Tunnel. I know that you all have spent thousands and thousands of dollars in that Wilcox Tunnel, but it does not look like the tunnel going through East Ridge. So whoever is in charge of the lighting situation, we would hope that you would give us some consideration on the Wilcox Tunnel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Is there anyone else?
Well, good evening. I'm Kevin Hyde, CEO for Partnership for Families, Children, and Adults, and it's good to see many friends here again. I'm in your district, District 6, and we're at 5600 Brainerd Road for our headquarters, although we have missions throughout the city. We'd just like to say thank you for your past support and also request your support for the city budget for our victim support services. As you know, in our state, we're 10th in the nation per capita in domestic violence. And we're even worse, 6th in the nation per capita in domestic violence that results in death. The numbers here in Chattanooga, Hamilton County are also pretty pervasive. Over the last 2 years, our 24/7 hotline for victims of sexual assault and rape, we've seen an increase of 21% in calls. Over the last 2 years for sexual assault forensic exams, we did 144 last year. That's an increase of 36%. Bed nights in our domestic violence shelter, which is the safe haven for those fleeing for their lives who have a lethality assessment from our local police departments. The bed nights have gone up 42% to almost 12,000 bed nights a year. This year, we're on pace to increase that by another 1,000. Our counseling has gone up by sessions only 5%, but that's due to a lack of capacity that I'm sure this body is well aware of in our whole community. But I will add that all of our counseling is done free of charge, and that many insurance companies do not cover therapy and counseling anymore. Partnership serves over 7,000 people a year, and over 2,000 of them directly connected to our victim support services. So we truly make a difference in this community, and what we strive to do is take people from that being that point of victim with complete wraparound services so that when they emerge, they not only have safety that can preserve their life, stability so that they can be a productive member of our community and fend for themselves with a job, a home, and a secure place to live, and have hope for the future. So thank you so much. We appreciate your past support, and we're proud to be a part of this community and your support of the budget. We did request all total, including what we had previously been allowed, $360,000. I'll point out that that's only 10% of an essential public service that is saving lives in our community every day. So thank you.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for your cooperation with the Family Justice Center as well.
Yes, they're a
Thank
great
you very
partner.
much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
Hello, good evening. My name is Patrick Hale. I live on 848 McCauley Avenue. I am speaking on behalf of the skateboarding community here in Chattanooga, and I just wanted to give a quick word to stress the importance of the new skateboard park over on Reggie White Boulevard, as the current one is severely dilapidated, and there's just many hazards that just shouldn't be. And we know that this has been an ongoing thing for years and years and years. And so as far as we understand that there's 1 million secured and there's 2.15 million to be motioned through. So when I found out about this meeting, I thought I would come here and advocate for the skateboard park and stress the importance of having a safe and proper facility for us, not only skateboarders, but rollerbladers, BMXers, scooters, whatever other wheeled activities, to have a proper place where we can legally, that is, participate in our activities and not have to worry about possibly facing infractions by wheeling on the streets, as it were. But, all right, I just wanted to come up here and say something about the skate park. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Then I'll call this to a close. Mr. Chair, having heard all this, is there any need for any more discussion by my colleagues, or can we consider we go forward with the first vote next week?
I'm not seeing any lights, so I think next week with the first vote.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very
Appropriate.
much.
All right, thank you, Dr. Burrs. We'll now close that public hearing and move on with the rest of our order of business for tonight. Ordinance's final reading, we have none this afternoon. Ordinance's first reading under planning. Madam Clerk, if you would, 8A.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone property located at 4416 Jersey Pike from R1 residential zone to RTZ residential townhouse 0 lot line zone, subject to certain conditions.
2024-0050. Is there an applicant present? All right, thank you. Is there any opposition present? Councilman Hester, I see an applicant with no opposition. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor to approve with a proper second. Are there any questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries. I'm sorry? Councilwoman
I'm
Coonrod, I'm sorry.
abstaining.
Um,
Abstain.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have one abstention.
Yes.
Madam Clerk, 8B, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone part of an unaddressed property in the 6100 block of Vance Road from R1 residential zone to R3 residential zone.
Case number 2024-0052, is the applicant present? All right, thank you. Is there any opposition present? Councilwoman Burrs, I see an applicant with no opposition.
Okay, Mr. Park, would you come up, please? So I know you met with the community, and they seem okay with the project. This is an interesting project because the land is already appropriately rezoned and has been since the 70s, but you're kind of landlocked, and so we're rezoning ingress, egress to the property itself. And one of the things, I'm putting all of this on record. You know
Yeah, thank
all
you
this
for
already.
recapping, yes.
And one of the things the council is very vigilant about, unfortunately, people sometimes have said they do one thing and then they've done another in actuality. And we always want to protect the neighborhood and the areas around. And so you and I discussed how you could do that, and you were willing to put information in the record that said, as in essence, that the market fluctuates. This is a 2-year project, but this would be workforce housing, and you also showed evidence of what the least it could be, which was very nice. I asked that it be included in the record. Did you forward that to Ms. Rennick?
I just spoke with her just about a minute before you called me up, so I can email her as soon as I get off the podium here
All right,
to share
well-
that email. And I have hard copies of the email that I plan to bring hard copy, but I
Well,
can share
all
the
we need
electronic.
is for you we'll give it to the clerk and attach it
Okay,
to the minutes, so it'll be part of the record. And so on record, you're agreeing and standing by what you said in the email, correct?
yeah, what we, as you stated, it's a 2-year project. The exact market will dictate the level of architecture finish on the buildings. And so we tried to bracket it to what the higher end might look like and what the lower end would look like, price point. So that's
And it
exactly
was
right.
very nice. We just want to make sure the lower end, which looks very nice, doesn't look any lower than that. The council's, it can be lower end affordable housing, but it still needs to look nice.
Certainly.
And so that's our intent. So you're agreeable
Yes, we are
on
comfortable, and I was
record?
confirmed
and
with the developer, they're okay with doing that.
Okay, do you need anything else?
No, as long as we have that for the minutes, that will be
Okay.
fine. Yes, sir.
All right, with that being said, thank you, sir. I move approval.
We have a motion on the floor. Did we have a second? Okay. All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you,
So
sir.
hard copies to the clerk up here?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Clerk, if you would read 8C, the alternate version.
Yes. An ordinance amending Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 38, Division 27, Section 38432, definition short-term vacation rental district to amend the map and boundaries to include an additional area within Council District 1.
Councilman Ledford?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to make sure we had the alternate version that was read and also that the map was changed to reflect the agreed-upon ordinance.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Attorney?
Map is included, yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Then I do move to approve for the alternate version.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. So moved. Thank you, Councilman. Moving it now to resolutions. Madam Clerk, without objection, would you read 9A and B, please.
Item A, a resolution confirming the appointment of Evelyn Sims to represent District 3 on the Head Start Governing Board with a term beginning on June 5, 2024, and ending on June 4, 2026. Item B, a resolution confirming the appointment of Zelma Lansford to represent District 7 on the Parks and Outdoors Advisory Board with a term beginning on June 5, 2024, and ending on February 13, 2025.
Move approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve items 9A and B with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, aye. Any opposed, no. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, without objection, would you read now 9C, D, and E as a group?
Item C, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute quick claim deeds conveying 16 certain combinations of parcels in substantially the form attached to the approved highest bidders on properties of the city of Chattanooga and Hamilton County as acquired through previous delinquent tax sales. Item D, a resolution authorizing revision to the Employee Information Guide, Ed. Policy 5.7, probationary period with related table of contents updates to be effected upon approval. Item E, a resolution authorizing spend limit increase for year one of existing Nova Global Blanket Agreement PA 100410 from $990,000 to $1,565,000, representing an increase of $575,000 for an automated photo enforcement partnership invoices April 2024 through November 2024.
Move to approve.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve items 9C, D, and E with a proper second. Questions or comments? All in favor, aye. Any opposed, no. So moved. Now, Madam Clerk, if you would, let's take items 9F through M, please.
Item F, a resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's appointment of Joseph Meadows to the Construction Board of Adjustment and Appeals for a term beginning on June 5, 2024, ending on June 4, 2028. Item G, a resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's reappointment of Scott Owens to the Construction Board of Adjustment and Appeals for a term beginning on June 5, 2024, ending on June 4, 2028. Item H, a resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's reappointment of Jacqueline Dow to the Hamilton County Board of Equalization for a term beginning on June 5, 2024, and ending on June 4, 2026. Item I, a resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's appointment of Eric McRoy to the Community Advisory Committee, Lookout Valley Region 1, for a term beginning on June 5, 2024, and ending on June 4, 2026. Item J, a resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's reappointment of Jeremy Bradford to the Community Advisory Committee, Hickson Region 8, for a term beginning on June 5, 2024, and ending on June 4, 2026. Item K, a resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's appointment of Sean Besley to the Community Advisory Committee, Hickson Region 8, for a term beginning on June 5, 2024, and ending on June 4, 2026. Item L, a resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's appointment of Greg Goodman to the Community Advisory Committee, Hickson Region 8, for a term beginning on June 5, 2024, and ending on June 4, 2026. Item M, a resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's reappointment of Christy Morris to the Community Advisory Committee, Washington Hills Region 10, for a term beginning on June 5, 2024, and ending on June 4, 2027.
Council, what's your pleasure? All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve items 9F through M with a proper second. Questions or comments? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed is no. So moved. Moving now to Planning and Public Works. Madam Clerk, without objection, would you read 9N through Q, please?
Item N, a resolution authorizing the mayor or his designee to apply for and, if awarded, to accept the community sparking and investment in transformative energy seaside funding from the U.S. Department of Energy, U.S. DOE, for an amount not to exceed $3.6 million with no City of Chattanooga match, and will pass through the funds to the Chattanooga Housing Authority, CHA, to be allocated for improvements to the James A. Henry Community Center facility. Item O, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to make payment to the Tennessee Department of Transportation, TDOT, for the city's share of the construction engineering inspection CEI contract costs for Alfred Benish and Company for the Walnut Street pedestrian bridge E13002, PN 128099.00, with the city's portion in the amount of $163,434.80 for a total cost estimate of $817,174. Item P, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to award contract number Y23006-201, Linwood Community Center, Helico Piers to Kane Industries LLC of Chattanooga, Tennessee, in the amount of $88,358.55, with a contingency in the amount of $8,500 for a total amount of $96,858.55. Item Q, a resolution authorizing the appointment of Horton Dane Williams as a special commissioned police officer unarmed for the Department of Public Works to perform duties expressly limited to enforcement of City Code, Chapter 31, Article 8, Stormwater Management.
Council, what's your pleasure?
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve with a proper second for items 9N through Q. Any questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, we now come to purchases. I believe we have 5 purchases for your consideration this afternoon.
All right. First purchase for your approval this evening from the Fleet Management Division, Public Works, one-time purchase of light and sirens for installation on 10 CPD non-patrol Explorers for the amount of $56,380. The award goes to Truckers Lighthouse, Inc. as the best bid for the city of Chattanooga. Number 2, technology from the Department of Technology Services. This is a new blanket contract for stormwater management software. This will be a 5-year agreement not to exceed $39,468 for year 1, $37,568 per year for years 2 through 4, and $39,446.40 for year 5, for a total estimate of $191,618.40. The award will go to Second Nature Software, Inc. as a sole source provider. Second Nature is a vendor-hosted solution that meets all minimum requirements for set control measures defined by Stormwater Department in the state of Tennessee MS4 permit requirements. Third, Land Development Office of Public Works. This is a new purchase agreement for the creation of a single historic preservation guidelines document. This agreement is not to exceed the amount of $120,000 and is grant funded. The award will go to Preservation Design Partnership as the best proposal for the city of Chattanooga. Number 4, from the Wastewater Department, this is a new blanket contract for window tinting and replacement services. This will be a 4-year agreement not to exceed $85,000 per year. Bids were received from one vendor. The invitation was re-advertised and resulted in no additional bids. The award will go to Osteen Construction. Finally, number 5, from Wastewater Department, this is a blanket contract annual spend increase request for air compressor maintenance and repair services. The increased amount is $15,000, which will bring the annual spend from $65,000 to $80,000. The Department of Wastewater requested and approved this increase.
Move approval, sir.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve this evening's purchases. With a proper second, do we have any questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. The ayes have it. Thank you, Ryan. Now moving to committee reports, Councilwoman Coonrod. Councilwoman Knoll. No report. Councilwoman Dotley. No report. Councilman Smith. No report, Mr. Chair. Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We did have Planning and Zoning Committee today. We also had our 4th and final zoning code workshop. And again, I want to thank everyone for their diligence and their hard work. Everyone on this council had something to contribute and to lend changes to based on their experience in their districts, and I applaud you for that effort. This has been an ongoing endeavor for several years now, And I anticipate that there will be a request to the chairman to place on our agenda for June 11th, a resolution to take those changes and move them back through Planning Commission. And this council will then see this again in roughly 1 month.
Mr. Attorney, can you make sure that hits our agenda?
On the date?
June 11th, that's next week,
Yes, sir.
the resolution that.
The resolution has already been prepared. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Come on. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Hester.
No report.
Councilwoman Burrs.
Yes, Mr. Chair. We finished our
You wanna hit
budget.
your lot?
We finished our budget process. You've got that down now, Mr. Chair. It takes a while.
It takes a little bit,
Yeah.
yeah.
We finished our budget process tonight with the public hearing, and we will start with first reading next week. This council was fabulous. They sat through hours of meetings that we streamed to the community. They sat through lots of feedback from constituents and did a wonderful job. So my friends, thank you very, very, very much for all your hard work. And we're done with first vote next week.
All right. Councilwoman Burrs, thank you so much for your diligence and hard work and your leadership in the budget process. Great job. Madam Vice Chair.
No report.
All right, thank you. Now we move to the point in our agenda that we recognize persons wishing to address the council. So if you would like to address the council this evening, if you would, please come to the podium, and we're going to have the attorney to read the rules to engage with the council.
Yes, sir. At the end of each council business meeting, the chair will recognize members of the public who wish to address them. Here's your rules. Each speaker wishing to address the council can only be recognized at the microphone up front for that purpose. You can't have more than 3 minutes to speak, and you can address the council only upon matters within their legislative and quasi-judicial authority, and not upon matters that are not under their authority or regulated by other governmental bodies or agencies. Can't use vulgar or obscene language, nor use the floor to personally attack or personally denigrate others, and address your comments to the council as a whole and not towards individual council members. And lastly, do not engage in disorderly conduct or disrupting a public meeting, which is prohibited by Tennessee law. And someone commits that offense if a person substantially obstructs or interferes with a meeting by physical action or verbal utterance with the intent to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting or gathering. Having stated those rules, go ahead, Mr. Santero.
And let me stress to our speakers this afternoon to please keep your comments that pertain to the authority of the city council. Mr. IT, would you give us 3 minutes on the timer? Thank you. All right.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. However, I would really love to just have it on the jurisdiction. And I apologize for my tone, but I would remind you guys respectfully, I do apologize for my tone. I wouldn't have this any other way. In some ways, I actually regret this happened to me 10 years earlier in my life. You know, Genesis, though they meant it for evil, God meant it for good. That's the cloth I'm cut from. So I'm all about love and peace. I really am. And I apologize for my tone. But I think if anybody here was falsely imprisoned for 3+ weeks after being wrongfully discharged, negligibly discharged by Erlanger Volunteer Behavioral Health and Moccasin Bend, and then aggravated assaulted while handcuffed, I think the tone would be where my tone would be. That being said, I have nothing but love in my heart, and I actually do kind of wish this happened to me 10 years earlier. I'm on a great new leaf in my life. I got my Lord and Savior to thank for that. So, but it is still woe to the oppressors, woe to the oppressors. And I would remind you guys, Sodom and Gomorrah did not burn because of homosexuality. It burned because God couldn't find 100 righteous people. No, I'm sorry, not 100, 10. How many do I have here? 12? Nobody's righteous? Nobody wants to stand up for civil liberties? Really? Civil liberties, human rights, mental rights, rights against the state, against the city? It's kind of like the good soldiers in Germany in the 30s. Oh, I was just following orders. Well, if the state has these orders, the city has these orders, the slave has these orders, and he can't do anything. Oh, well, now I need to reach out to Mr. Fleischman, and Mr. Fleischman says, I'm federal, you got to do what the state. The state says, well, that's at the legislative branch. So it's kind of this big amalgamation of hurry up and wait, which I know council can appreciate the slogan in the legal system, hurry up and wait. As I've been hurry up and waiting for 6+ months, 2+ years of battling serious criminal charges that resulted from this, from, circuit court. No, I'm sorry, not circuit court, sessions court. And, mysteriously body cam, dash cam footage disappears. Oh yeah, that's interesting. I'm sure it wouldn't have disappeared if they actually would have given me 80 or 100 years or, whatever they were really trying to give me. It just magically disappears. Yeah, and Epstein magically disappeared. P. Diddy is throwing, Christian boy parties. The Boeing whistleblowers, they magically disappeared. Yeah, that
Please
kind
keep
of.
it under the authority of the city council. I have no jurisdiction over Boeing.
Well,
Thank you.
I would think that you'd have jurisdiction over the people who are, respectfully, I remind everybody, are elected officials. Why can I not get any answers from city members, county members, state members? I can't get any answer. Are you immune from answering questions in the city? It's a little knock knock, we ask the questions here. Thank you.
Mr. Bell, go ahead.
Thank you. Monty Bell, the homeless journalist, the gray-haired fox, man with the $1 trillion voice. Last time I was here, once again, I was challenged by someone on the city council.
Yes, you were.
Yes, sir. And that's going to cost you a couple more million. What I have here, I'm going to pass out one copy. People hear things, they see things, they know things. I have a mother and a father. I don't deal with any of you anywhere. I'm really kind of amazed that so many people I've never lent my person to know so much about me, whether I'm at the city council, the county commission, the state of Tennessee. I came back recently from a beautiful trip. Couldn't get into my tent because they're now providing me with the requirements of the Freedom of Information Act that I came to you all back in December of 2023. There's a provision here from Chief Justice in this cause, 19C 1049, that told you all when he handed Circuit Court Judge Elmer Reed Williams her walking papers on May the 18th, none of you have any remedy at law to defeat Monty Bell. Your best option is to engage in the injunction and the sanctions for relief. Mr. Bell has a racist white supremacy case against the 11th Judicial District Court.
Sir, we don't have any authority under that court.
If we, oh, yes, you do.
No,
Here you are,
no.
here you are, you're number 18. You got a lucky number here. Number 18, you're among about 185 defendants in this case, sir. You're number 18. If I can pass this up, Mr. Officer, can you give him this so he can stop challenging? He's a defendant in my cause. I've had enough. You and the entire city council are defendants. $211 billion, $34 million with a multiple of 9. I'll say it in the last seconds because you've interrupted me again. That's another million that I'm adding to this. And you can think it's a Alice in Wonderland event all you want. This is my house. 625 George Avenue is my
That's not
house.
this address.
Another million. You're not going to learn until you are actually wedged and moved out of here. You'll get it then. You've brought police, you've brought all of this. I was drawn down on by a nut at the county a couple of weeks ago. These are the requests.
All right, Mr. Bell,
requirements.
your time has,
And yours is coming
expired.
soon, sir. We'll see
Thank
you on June the 11th, and by that time, you should be making your way with my payment and out of here.
thank you.
Hey, John, District 9, and I'm going to do something unprecedented, and I'm not going to use the whole 3 minutes. I was sitting here and thinking about the meeting earlier today about the stadium, and I was reminded of this tweet that said, "You're allowed to say at any point you can't support this, even if you did, even if you were unsure. At any point you can say this is too complicated or we've gone too far. And while the best time to have changed your mind could have been a long time ago, the second best time to change your mind can be right now. In regards to the plans that are happening with the stadium, it's obvious that there are some unknown complexities where the risk might be greater than the reward. And specifically, I'm thinking about the financial incentive for the developers to develop quicker rather than slower, now that there's a huge financial liability that is forthcoming because of the interest rates that we're facing now. And I want to remind you that we can't have housing both as a financial asset and an affordable feature of our community. Those two things are at odds. And if we have these sort of unprecedented things tacked on where we're saying developers have to develop fast and make a profit to pay the taxes, or they could be fined, we're incentivizing cheap, profitable housing more than quality, affordable housing. There's much more I want to say on this, but I know since the vote is coming soon, I wanted to bring this up, that there's some complications that are arising, that we can move forward with the development of that part of town, but perhaps the millions and millions that we have in bonds and investment as a city and as constituents should continue to come into question. And even if there are 5 votes and it's going to pass anyway, you can be one of the votes that dissent if you're unsure about it. And I think that it's an opportunity to be on the right side, because this is a big risk for our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else like to address the council this afternoon? No.
Hello again, Council. Helen Burns Sharp, Accountability for Taxpayer Money. You may have a copy of this memo before you. I probably will ad-lib just a little bit. But basically what I wanted to say, that it's good to see progress on the stadium project. TIF can be a good tool, and this is a classic TIF site. The Economic Impact Plan and Development Agreement are the final steps in the public approval process. The Economic Impact Plan Agreement reflects the new funding package that you and the county have agreed upon. I want to speak particularly about the Development Agreement. This is the first time administration has sent you this agreement, including, I don't believe you saw the one on the bend. I believe you need to amend the TIF policies to make sure you get these in the future, because I can see that maybe you saw from what you saw today that these are complicated and an important document, even though you don't have an official role in approving them. So ask yourself, do you believe that this development agreement that you have seen over the past day or two would adequately protect city taxpayers if the redevelopment site around the stadium is not developed as quickly as we all hope it will be? Well, what if the city and county are later asked to make larger contributions towards the debt service on the stadium as a result? This afternoon, there was discussion about how long is the city's debt obligation likely to be on the front end, 3 years, 5 years, 8 years. And I was a little concerned about the wording in the agreement that the property owners will make reasonable efforts to develop the entire site. It's kind of, that's good that they say that, but that doesn't sound too concrete. So the reason that I became sort of fixated on development agreements when I was community development director in an Oregon city, the last TIF project I worked on with PepsiCo owns Gatorade, and they were going to build their first West Coast facility in our community. And we were very excited, and it was going to be a lot of well-paying jobs and all like that, and we were underway and all like that. And then PepsiCo, completely unexpected to them and to us, the city, they said, Gatorade sales have been going like this, but they've started going like that. We're going to make a business decision not to build this facility. And we'll pay you, some money for your staff time or whatever. But because of the wording in the development agreement, they wrote the city a check for $25 million. So, and the last thing on that project that anybody expected, including the applicant, was that project wouldn't go as anticipated. So I learned then development agreements are really important. And what I would suggest, kind of along the lines of the previous speaker, is that we have, that when you amended the TIF policies and procedures a year ago, you added a provision that said that you would do, I'm about out of time, you would do an independent third-party review. And I'm thinking that would be ideal here, could be done in a very brief period, but to have someone with expertise, this is so complicated, someone, and I think Mamontoff is great, I think he's a smart attorney and's got good business sense, but to have a third party look at it and see if it thinks it does as good a job as it can to protect the public. You did this on the Bend. My understanding is they had asked for this amount because of the third-party review. The taxpayer subsidy was this amount. These things can work. They can protect the city. I would think you could maybe find somebody in like 3 weeks, an independent person or whatever. So, and also, I'm concerned that I don't see anything about affordable housing. And the Bend development agreement, there's the requirement that the developer, and when they sell the property, that there be the 10%. But there's no requirement on these properties that they have any affordable housing. And it seems like that might be something you might want to have some discussion on. Thank you. I'm sorry I ran over. I appreciate the extra time.
Do we all get extra time, or is that just for people who you agree
Sir.
with?
But they don't typically.
Anybody else that'd like to address the council this afternoon? Council, I'm not seeing any other people. Move to adjourn, we're adjourned.